Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our May Inspiration Hour. We have a great lineup today. Excited to have you all. I'm Tara Mastel. I work for Montana State University Extension in the Community Vitality Program. We do webinars like this. We do the Reimagining Rural program. We host leadership programs across the state to help our leaders in our small towns have the skills they need to take advantage of as many opportunities as they can. I'm joined today by my co-host, Jennifer Anderson. Give him a wave, Jennifer. Jennifer is the extension agent in Rosebud and Treasure counties. She lives in Forsyth. This Inspiration Hour webinar series was designed for rural leaders, rural volunteers across the state. We wanted to give you some really immediate information that you can use to solve problems that you're dealing with or take advantage of opportunities. And that's certainly what we're talking about today with murals. We want to give you information that you need to take the first step with your project that you want to take on and give you some ideas of who you can call for help. So a little bit about the Reimagining Rural program. It's a program that we run with our partner, Montana Community Foundation. We're moving our program, Reimagining Rural. It used to always happen in the fall. We're moving it to early 2024. So look for some dates coming out this summer, and the application process will open for that in the fall. So I'll tell you, so today we're talking about murals. We're super excited to talk about this. We switched this topic from talking about the Montana Department of Commerce's tourism grant because the tourism grant had some changes made to it by the legislature. So we were going to talk about that today, but we've switched. Some of the changes are actually quite good, especially for rural communities. So we're excited about those changes, but they weren't really ready to talk about it. So we're moving that to the fall. And we thought that murals would be a great topic. Jennifer, do you have any comments on why we're talking about murals today?
Yeah, thanks, Tara. I think when we decided to switch, speaking about the Department of Commerce, murals came up because it was a hot topic within the conversations happening through our Reimagine Rural series. So I think it was, we landed at a great spot because this is something that already interested communities and they want to know how to do this, how to go about it, artists that are out there that can do murals. And so we thought this is really kind of a low-hanging fruit, easy win for communities if they're looking to spruce up their community, clean up their town, want to add a little extra something, but also at the same time can't break the bank or takes years and years to plan. So I am excited to hear from the communities that have already taken on completing murals and see what it took to get the job done and how we can help other communities across the state do the same.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so we have 6 speakers today, 6 folks from all across the state that are going to talk about their experience with their murals. And how we're going to run this is we're going to give each person about 8 minutes to talk, and then we'll have an opportunity for questions. So if anybody has questions, please put those questions in the chat, and we'll have questions for each speaker right after they're done, and hopefully we'll have some time at the very end where we can ask more more discussion, more questions, that sort of thing. So we'll try to keep on track. I'll probably just give like a 1 or 2 minute warning for folks when their time's up. That's what we're thinking. So I guess any other comments? I also want to say if anybody has, I didn't introduce my colleague Sharon Henderson. Sharon is my partner in crime on running these. We've gotten to be pretty darn good. We're going to track the questions, and so speakers, you don't have to worry about watching the chat. We will ask the questions of you. Between Sharon and I, we'll get that. And the webinar is being recorded, and we will send the recording to everybody that's registered. We also will post it on we now have we're getting pretty fancy here at Extension. We have a YouTube channel for Extension, Montana State University Extension, but we also have just a playlist for this specific series. So we'll share that with you as well. So anybody can look at them at any time. Okay. With that, I think we'll kick off with our first speaker. Deb Wilson, are you ready to roll?
I am. Thank you
Great.
so much, Tara.
Great. So Deb Wilson is in Thompson Falls, which is in Northwest Montana. Great. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Deb.
So if you want to put that picture up, Tara.
Yeah, I will do that right now.
I pretty much just went off the questions that you sent me.
Perfect.
So
It's great. Oops, there's our agenda. And moving forward, there we go.
all right. So this is our mural. And the two little girls that are in front are actually the ones that designed it. So they're local middle school kids. We purchased the Rex Theater. We formed a nonprofit to purchase the Rex Theater. We decided to have one annual Big Do. That's our fundraiser. It came out to, this is through like a lot of discussions that we were going to do a spaghetti Western dinner. And then we put it out to the schools to design it. The reason we did that is because about 3 years ago, our Main Street committee wanted to get the kids involved with painting either murals or something that they could take down up and down Main Street. And then we lost our Sanders County community development person, and there were a bunch of hurdles that kind of got in the way. And I wanted to revisit that. So when we decided to do that,
Can you guys hear? I'm not sure that I can hear. Okay. Deb, we have a problem with your audio.
Yeah.
We can't.
yeah, I sorry, got muted somehow.
Okay, great.
So I don't know how long I wasn't being
So
heard, but
the last I heard, you were saying that you had lost your Sanders County Community Development person.
yep. So anyway, we kind of were looking at different things, and a bunch of our board members went up to Libby, and they had the Libby Wings project up there. So we kind of wanted to do something similar, just getting the kids involved. And it felt like we were not getting support. Everybody thought it was a great idea. Nobody was willing to help. So I reached out to Artco Lab. They're out of Coeur d'Alene. They actually did the Clark Fork Gymnasium, and they've done a few other things. They're just phenomenal to work with. We asked the middle school to come up with a design, and that's actually how we brand that spaghetti Western now. It's the two boots with the hat on a dirt floor with some barn planking behind it. It changes a little bit. We've only done 2. This will be our 3rd. It's changed a little bit, but yeah, it was a pretty big deal. The gentleman came down. He started in the morning, and by evening he had a projector, right, for the letters. That's the only thing that he used the template for. Everything else was a rattle can, and he did it freehand. It was ridiculous. So people were stopped. It's actually on the side of my building out here, but people were stopped at night watching him do this. They were just like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool." And it was a big deal. So I felt it was a really big shot in the arm. It's the only one in our town. And funny enough, he walked up and down the day before looking at different walls, and he says, "You guys have a lot of nice walls here." So it just goes to show, like, you know, people that are artistic, they're looking for places to spruce up and do that. The challenge that we had, the immediate challenge was actually the owner of this building, which I thought was a little bit funny, but finally they agreed. They're like, yeah, you know, you can do that. And once it was done, they were like, oh, thank you for painting our building. It was great. The question that Tara had asked is the benefits or the ripple effect of the mural. And I can honestly say the benefits are it's noticed, right? We only have Highway 200, which is our main street. So when you're driving in that one direction, you can't miss it. It's right there. The ripple effect, I have not seen any yet. We are planning on doing another mural next year, early next year. And we'll probably grab the same company because they were just a delight to work with. So
Great, Deb.
that's it. I don't think I can do 8 minutes, but there you go.
That's great. So we had one question. Who is your artist? You said Art Co Lab out of Coeur d'Alene. Is that your artist?
Yep.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think he put his initials down there. You can kind of see whatever that is, Lakey. But he came to us through Art Co Lab. So, and they all put their own. Yeah, look at that. That's so cool, right?
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Excellent. Okay. And we have all kinds of questions. So they want to know, what did it cost?
Right. So that is actually, I believe it's a 14 by 14 mural. And it was $1,800.
And that is just for the artist or the materials and everything?
That's everything, lock, stock, and barrel.
1,800. Did you have any donations? Or
It was all donations.
For the money
our fundraiser, our very first spaghetti western, did very, very well. And we had a few things that we needed to take care of with that, but we said we'll put up half of it if the community can raise the other half, and we got the other half. So
great. And so Michelle asked, do they charge a travel expense? But you said 1,800 lock, stock, and barrel, so that's all inclusive. Yep. Great.
The biggest hurdle was the weather. So we had been scheduled for like a couple of weeks, and they were very communicative. I mean, he called, every couple of days, and he goes, "Oh, I'm watching the weather. It doesn't look great, whatever." Finally, he said, "I think we're getting a break." He came out the night before and set up shop and just went to town. It was great. But just watching, like, I saw, who was at Malta? I mean, if you can get local people to do it, that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Right. And this guy it was fun to watch him work.
Yep. Great. Anybody, we have a couple, we have like, that was my 1 minute. So any other questions? Jennifer, any other panelists have any questions for Deb? It's a beautiful design. It's so
people
cool
are asking if they can provide contact information, which I'm guessing, Tara, you'll be able to gather up.
Yeah.
And another question was,
it's one word, Artco, ARTCO, lab.com.
Great.
And then the other question was, do you know if this group does restorations?
I do not know that. Their website has a plethora of their work, though. Showcases their work.
Excellent. Great. Here's the link right here. I'll just throw it right in the chat. But we'll send this out too.
Thank you, Tara.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Any other questions before we move on? Oh, Sharon had it too. Sharon beat me to it. Great. Awesome, you guys. Okay, great. Deb, if you can hang out with us, we'll see how this conversation goes. There might be some other questions that people have about the murals projects in general. So, all right. Well, thank you, Deb. That's really beautiful, and how fun that that's your first mural in town. It's really great. Thanks for sharing that with us. All right, next we have Betty Stone, and Betty is in Glasgow. And Betty, I'll just turn it over to you.
Okay, do you want to show my first photo? There we go. Okay, this is the Busted Knuckle Brewery. It's actually the production part of the brewery. And the brewery is located behind it and is actually a very neat building in itself that was converted from an old gas station. But this mural was done by Madeline House, who had just recently moved to town, and the owner of the Busted Knuckle, she talked to her about doing a mural, and so the business itself funded this mural. And it was painted by Madeline House of Glasgow, with the idea that this would become the location, the parking lot that's coming out in front of it would be the location for the farmer's market. So great tie-in there. And it took her about 1 month to complete. She used something called Nova Color Artist Acrylic Paint. And that is a product then that we continued working with on another project. But I just took this picture, trying to think if it was, yeah, I took this picture recently, but the mural has been up for about 3 years, and it really hasn't faded. It looks amazing. So that's one thing with that very good paint that's made especially for it. As far as the ripple effect, the business then, it has leveled out this. There was an old building that they tore down where this lot is. They leveled it out. 2 years ago, they planted a row of trees, big sized trees along the curb, along the sidewalk next to the curb, and put in a 2-foot retaining wall. And now they have added gravel to this, and part of it is a concrete pad. But anyway, that's where our farmers markets are going to be held from this point on. So really nice location. It's at the intersection, when you come off Highway 2 to downtown. There are two ways to get to downtown off Highway 2. One is the intersection that goes, it's the crossroads for the Burlington Northern, and the other one is an underpass. So this one is at the crossroads. So I don't know how much this project cost, because it was privately funded. And that's all I have on that one. Are there any questions on that one?
Yeah, Michelle from Boulder is asking about a sealer. Did they seal it either before or after?
Before. Yes.
Before, yeah. Is there any peeling or anything? Have you seen
No.
anything? No.
No.
Great. Excellent. Okay.
And then the next one, so this was the first, and it was the catalyst for doing something across the street because of this being, as I said, the crossroads, the main intersection in town. we decided that we loved the mural and it looked so nice and bright there, and we wanted to do something across the street from it. So the next picture, there we go, is on the side of a building that is Alley's Palace, which is a bar. And this is actually a little courtyard in front of this part of the building. The bar itself is actually off to your right of this picture and attached to this brick building. And it just looked terribly run down, and the bricks were broken and whatnot. So TBID, Tourism Business Improvement District in Glasgow, decided we would take this on as a project, and worked with the owner just to get their approval. The only thing that the owner requested of us is that we put their logo in the window on the right-hand side. You'll see there's a window that was boarded over, and that is a alley cat for Alley's Palace. That's their logo. So we put that alley cat in the window for them. Otherwise, we used the Nova paint on this, and I just can't tell you how impressed I am with using that paint from painting projects. In fact, this getting a little bit off the subject, but with that paint, I've painted several large downtown planters for flowers that just, they get faded over time. And we painted them all black with this black, and it's just amazing. It doesn't fade, it holds up so well. Just really impressed with it. So we wanted to have something about our logo, the middle of nowhere, Glasgow, Montana. Glasgow was actually named the middle of nowhere by the Washington Post because we're the furthest away from Starbucks and Walmart and I'm trying to think what other things they use, but we officially for a town over 1,000 people are nominated as the middle of nowhere. So rather than take that as a negative concept, the community decided to embrace it and take it as, yeah, we're the middle of nowhere. And then a lot of our marketing, I'm getting off track here, but a lot of our marketing has to do with, you'll find this in the middle of nowhere and enjoy this in the middle of nowhere. Okay, back to the mural. The TBID purchased the paint. It was $286 for the paint. And we paid a local contractor, painter, $1,000 to paint the background. So we used a really good background paint that was made to go on top of brick. And so the gray blue, that background that you see, was professionally painted. And then the artists on that were myself and Melissa Sigmundsted, who actually works here at the Cottonwood and is very involved with Two Rivers Economic Growth. And she said she'd love to help do it. So you see the lift off to the right there. And my son was generous enough to let us use his lift truck for the whole project. So I got quite good at running that thing up and down. It took $1,000 for the background paint and $286 for the Nova paint. And otherwise it was volunteer pre-planning, about 20 hours of volunteer and about 40 hours of volunteer painting on the project.
Great. You got about a minute left, Betty.
Okay, we did the lettering. I blew it up on a copy machine, cut out the letters, traced around it, and then painted those in. The silhouettes I drew on butcher paper essentially, and then we just traced around them and painted them in. So it's really a simple design, but it really stands out on that wall. The ripple effect of this is the community decided we needed to do something with the underpass and paint the underpass. Cathryn McIntyre was the artist on that, and she's going to be coming up as a panelist, so I'm sure she will be talking about that one. That was a project, I just want to say this, that was funded, a Art in Communities grant through the Montana Arts Council. It was a $10,000 grant to fund that project.
You said the Montana Arts Council?
Yes, Montana
Okay.
Arts Council.
Okay, we will include that. We'll find that link and include that in our
Okay.
follow-up email that will probably come out maybe tomorrow or Friday.
Mhm.
Great. Great. Any questions? I'm going to stop sharing. Do we have any questions? Did I miss?
I have a question.
Okay.
How
great.
did you come up with the idea for the state outline and the silhouettes?
Melissa came up with the idea of doing the state outline with the bullseye for the middle of nowhere. And but I thought it was too plain and it needed some people in it to give it some movement. So I thought we need some people, and I thought it would be more effective to do silhouette people rather than detailed people.
Nice. It looks great.
Thank you.
Okay, this is kind of maybe for everybody. This is from Michelle. She's from Boulder. We were told to get a facade easement that will protect the mural from being painted over by a new building owner in the future. Does anyone know about this kind of easement? We don't want to expend money and energy to have it covered up. Anybody heard about that?
No.
Nope. I'm sorry, Michelle, we don't have any answers for you. Oh, Cathryn does. Okay. Cathryn is going to be our last speaker for the day. So Cathryn will add that to your little bullet list to talk about. Okay, great. Any other questions or comments? Jennifer, do you have any thoughts? I think it's cool how you guys just did it. You just made it happen. I love that. Making it happen. It's very cool. Okay. Well, we're doing great on our time here. That's good. We'll have lots of time for questions at the end too. So let's move on. Our next panelist is Mikey Mollman. Are you ready to go, Mikey? Yeah.
I am. Hi, everyone. So like Tara said, I'm out of Worden, Ballantyne. So we're just about 25 miles east of Billings. So we have quite a bit of access to painters and muralists being this close to a bigger place. But so our artist is Riley Zembrennan, sorry. She's with Riley Tenay Art. If anyone's been to Billings in the last few months, you may, and in the Gazette, I think she was, you see the big buffalo on the Jake's downtown. She was the one to do that, which is really great. Yeah, there she is. Thank you, Tara. So she's local. Actually, she grew up out here in Worden. Her family still, her mom and dad both still live here. So she's very excited to get to do a mural in her hometown. Yeah, right now she's actually an art teacher, but next year she plans on going full-time art, which is awesome for her. And we are one of her 7, I believe, murals this year, and we're her last one. So September is when ours is supposed to go up. And if, Tara, do you want to show them what our plan is at least? There it is. So this is going to go on the side of Project Merc, which is our old little grocery store in town. That is the first business that you see when you pull into town. And let's see, when we talked with Riley, her initial price for this was $92.50. And that, as a beginner group, that was kind of steep for us, but we knew that we wanted, if it was going to be this big, we wanted it to be done really well. So it's an 800 square foot mural. She worked with us, which is super cool. So we were able to get volunteers to do all the prep work and lay down the primer that she requested. And so that cut out $3,600 for us. So now we're down to 5,000. We were lucky enough, we applied for the Space to Place grant through Big Sky Economic Development. We got $4,000 for that. So now as a group and community, we just have to raise $1,000 to get it paid for. Let's see, your next question was challenges. Pinpointing a design that really represented our rural community in town. And we kind of wanted to go broader a little bit than just Worden and Ballantyne. So we extended it, as you can see on the map here, we went from Huntley all the way to Pompey's Pillar. And we are going to do the main highway, which is Highway 312. And we're also gonna put the interstate and the Yellowstone River. We're representing Pompey's Pillar with the Rock and Sacagawea. And then we've got our fishermen up top for all of our fishing accesses that we have around here. And then we really just wanted to represent our egg. It's kind of one of our big things here in the area, as most of you probably agree with for your areas. And the little sign in the middle with the wooden things, we are gonna do just some fun touristy things to show like how many miles away certain things are, like Glacier and other just Montana attractions. We talked about maybe expanding that and doing something fun like how far Paris is or little things like that too. Yeah, other things, making sure that the artists that you pick and the image that you have in mind, it's in their wheelhouse, I guess. So I did have like a sit down coffee meeting with our artists to go over this and just make sure she felt comfortable. Some artists don't like doing people. Some artists don't, whatever their thing is. So we did that. Location, we wanted it to be very visible and one of the first things. So this space is Highway 312. And yeah, like I said, it's our first little business. So the benefits and ripple effect, let's see. Well, it's not complete yet, but it's already started a buzz in our community. Just with even us going out and kind of measuring and stuff, people instantly were like, what are you doing? What's happening? So everyone we talked to is super excited about it. And then we had the boosted media of the Space to Place. They put us out there in the news and that kind of thing. So that's got the buzz going really good as well. How we decided on what we were going to do, it was kind of like some people wanted to do like something very artsy and others wanted to do more touristy things. So we kind of met in the middle, but it is a good talking about it. We kind of got an idea of what people want to do. So there's definitely something going on for another one, we hope, pinpoint a spot. But yeah, I think the murals are a great way to really get something going for our town. But that's kind of, any questions from anybody?
Anybody have any questions? Mikey, you said this is
I have a question
this is
for you.
this is along in a pretty prominent place in Worden proper.
Yes,
Mhm.
we yeah, it's right along Highway 312, and it's the start of our main street. So it's the corner of those two. And the other reason we picked this, one of our big projects as our group is we wanted to beautify Main Street. So we've got a committee that's doing flowers. They've met with all the businesses and all of them are going to have a theme every year. And so that's in the works this year. And this building, it's pretty rough looking if anyone's seen it, or the paint's chipping off the siding and everything. So our group is also going to go ahead and try and raise money to actually paint the whole building, not just this. We've got volunteers that are going to pressure wash, and then we're just going to put it out there and hopefully get some more volunteers and just get the whole thing painted. just to kind of start that, you know, get our group is kind of new. So just to get our name out there that we are really, you know, we're not just we're not going to not do anything, I guess.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I cut somebody off. Was somebody else going to ask a question?
I was going
Is
to
it
ask
Betty?
a question. Yes. More of a comment. It took me a while to figure out that that was supposed to be a metal arc on top of the sign.
Yeah. So that's just, this all was just pulled off of like a digital imagery thing.
Yeah, okay. It just, in my artist brain or whatever, I'm
Right?
like,
I know.
needs to be more defined because you can't tell what it is at first glance.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. I'll jot that down for our little notes.
So this concept must have been created by the artist to kind of give you an idea of what she might put together.
No, actually, she didn't have any idea of what we wanted. So I put this together just to give her an idea, and obviously told her, put things where you want it, take things away. We've had requests from our group that maybe we could throw a cow in there because that's a big one for our community is cattle. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Great.
Did you, I'm so sorry. Did you say space the place?
Space to place. So it's
Space to place.
space and then the number 2 and place.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Cindy says, Blue Bunch wheatgrass is a state grass of Montana. There you go.
Oh, that's a good one to put down too. Yes.
Yeah, good deal. All right. Any thoughts, Jennifer? Anybody else?
Yeah, so a couple of times you mentioned, you said our group. So can you expand or elaborate a little bit? Like, what is the group? Who's the group?
Yeah, so we all started out of Reimagine Rural. And then we kind of decided we needed to be a 501c3 just to get some of the grants that we wanted. So we became a group out of that, Community Project Connection. And yeah, we've kind of hit the ground running. We've got a farmers market group, we've got a garden committee, we've got a food truck committee, we've got the beef, beets, and barley committee, which most members are on 1 or 2 different committees, but it was a great program to get us started for sure.
Did you get are you all done with your 501c3?
We are. What a process that was, but yes.
Good job. That's no small feat.
No.
Mikey, say the name of your artist again.
Riley Zumbrennan, Rile. But if you're looking for her like Instagram and all that kind of stuff, it's Riley Tane Art, which is Tane Art. I can type it in here too if that helps.
Oh, I think I got it.
Yeah. But she's all over the state this year. So you guys, I mean, she definitely travels. I don't know what she charges for travel and that kind of thing, but I think she's even going like past Missoula, I think is her furthest one. And she is actually got invited to, his name is Cameron Moberg. He is a like nationwide muralist. And he does something out of Great Falls where he gets a group of Montana muralists together every year. I think he does. So that's a good spot to find out some other artists as well in the state. You could look and see who he's invited to his event this year. And yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Excellent. One last call for questions for Mikey. Okay. Well, we are doing really great on our time. So next up, we just keep those questions coming. Next up, we have Lisa and Rod Cline from Cut Bank.
All right, so kind of interesting in Cut Bank, we have about 20 murals already, and they fall into 3 different classes. About 20 years ago, there were some very large scale murals that were done that depicted the history of the area. So we've got the Blackfeet meeting Lewis and Clark. We've got homesteading, oil field, a patriotic theme, railroad. And then the second class of murals, Rod was actually involved in this process. They're photo murals, and a group from MSU came up and did a study, kind of a focus group, and identified 2 different issues in the area. And one was, any way you come into town, you see junk. And the other one was, we need a way to get people to stop. So with the MDOT grant, that group, all of those are historical transportation type of things, trains, planes, buses, horses, bicycles, all of those types of things. And they're all captioned, and they had to be within a block of the main street. Is that right?
Have to be on the
Yeah.
state highway.
Had to be on it within a block of a state highway. So that's really cool. So the newer mural projects, that there hadn't really been any action until last year. And our city had a beautification committee, and they opted to put a large trout mural right next to City Hall. I don't know how much that cost, but a local artist did that. And it's very, very beautiful and right on Main Street, really, really an eye grabber. So I know they had a fundraiser at Lewis and Clark Days. They sold frozen lemonades. And I think Tara has an image of that she can pop up for us. And I think the artist, I think Destiny only charged about $500 for this because she was just so happy. Let's see. Yeah. Oh.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, not quite. Do you have the, there we go. There it is. So I say that just, it's huge. It's beautiful and really highly appreciated. And then the murals that we've been involved with are a little bit different, because typically we think of murals as being on the side of a building. Well, Rod and I have been involved in reimagining rural too. And one of the things we learned is sometimes if you want to get things done, you just kind of go rogue, which is kind of how we operate. So we identified the 2 most derelict buildings kind of in our downtown business district. And can you go to the Chief Mountain mural, Tara? So this building actually is bow shaped, like a bow window. So one of the biggest challenges here was Rod, being the construction engineer, had to build a face across that, or structure across that, and anchor it with into the concrete. And then stucco board was put up on it. And then the windows behind this building is actually for sale. And so the owner / realtor wanted to be able to see through. So then that panel was put in. And then there's also a door there so that you can walk into the building. But it was just people, to use a word of my mom's, they were just gobsmacked. Our artist, George Grandchamp, is a Blackfeet artist. He stood there with his cell phone and a pencil, sketched this out, and painted it in a day, mostly using a paint roller.
More like about 6 hours
Yeah.
it took him.
Yeah, it was just absolutely fascinating.
This mural is 10 feet high and 32 feet wide. So he did a lot of work in a short amount of time.
Yeah. And the main expense involved with this was getting the wood and the stucco board to put up on there. And yeah, so it's Chief Mountain, culturally significant to the Blackfeet tribe. And George didn't want to charge anything for his work. He got a stipend from the Chamber of Commerce, gave him some chamber bucks that he was able to spend in town. We comped his meals. He gave him another $200 there, and then the money was all fundraised to cover this. But it's just been a really, really exciting addition to our downtown, right by the stoplight, which is our US Highway 2 / Main Street. And it just created such an excitement and such a buzz. So that's about $1,400 for this
Total,
one total. Yeah. And then there was another building smaller that is still kind of a work in progress. Rod did a little bit of work to cover up a broken window here, and then we primed it. And then you can see our local high school art teacher volunteered to paint this one. And we chose Black-Eyed Susans and Echinacea for this because they're purple and gold, and those are our school colors. And she's going to finish that this summer and paint kind of in the little doorway piece there. And this mural was done with leftover materials, and then a local business had done a mural in their courtyard, and they donated the paint for this. So this was basically a no-cost operation, and Chelsea donated her time for this too. So, and that kind of a fun spool off from this. Another local artist just was so excited about the rejuvenation. He wants to paint a phoenix rising because he says it feels like Cut Bank is rising from the ashes. So he's identified a building there to do that with.
And then the other building that's right at the stoplight, so it's probably half block away from the Chief Mountain mural. A local artist, her grandparents own the building, and she's gonna, she wanted to spruce that up also, thinking that, now we look terrible, so we need to fix this up. And so she's gonna be doing that this summer also.
So kind of the more. So that's what we've got going on.
That's great. So the ripple effect is one building gets spruced up and somebody else gets inspired to do that. It'll be interesting to see if that happens in Worden, Mikey. Yeah. Yep. Hopefully.
It already has started.
Oh, really?
Yeah, across the street, they painted their building. It was looking a little rough, so.
That's great.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So Lisa and Rod, you said something about you said MDOT, so I'm guessing that was Montana Department of Transportation grant.
Right. Yeah. So that was quite a few years ago, and their main stipulation was that it had to be transportation, of course, involved. That's why it involved the railroad and anything of that nature. And then we worked with the local historian that had all sorts of pictures, just thousands of pictures. And we picked out from there which ones we wanted to use. And then there were a local guy that had the monument shop donated his time to build all the framework for these things, because these murals are probably 8 foot tall and anywhere from 10 to 20 foot wide. And I think there's a dozen of them in town on different buildings, and
low maintenance.
Very low maintenance. So
yeah. Okay, well, we'll do a little research. If you guys haven't, you probably don't have that, but if we'll see if we can find a source for that grant too. Any questions or any thoughts?
I have a question.
Yep.
So what are the photos were enlarged, and what is the material that they're made of?
They're on metal, aren't they?
The
photos?
Yeah. I really don't know what he put those on.
They're on metal.
It's got to be on metal, and they had them, preserved with, so that they wouldn't deteriorate or anything, or mar or peel or anything. So it's.
So which company did that?
It was a local company. He owns the shop, or he builds monuments. He's since deceased.
But
so
who did the photos though?
Oh, the photos? Oh, they're just a combination of.
But how were the photos?
They were enlarged. How were they enlarged?
Who the local guy from the Historical Society had them done somewhere. I'm not really sure where. It may have been. I know the Glacier Electric, the rural electric company in Cut Bank, can do that kind of stuff, but I'm not sure if they did those or not. It's been so long since we've done that. I'm not sure if we shipped that out or.
So I don't know if this will work, but here's an example of one of them. So you can see the transportation here is a couple of kids and their bicycle.
Uh-huh. Like you said, though, that seems to be a very low maintenance type of project. So
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
very interested in that.
That took, I don't know, that was probably about 18 months to get that to finalization. It was mostly just going through the piles of thousands of pictures and finding which ones we wanted to use. Because there were so many, they were all so good that.
Thank you.
Okay, so a couple more questions. My guess is that the landscape of Babs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep. You got it.
Yep, we have some property up there, and right when you drop down the Duck Lake Hill, that's exactly what you're looking at. So that's something near and dear, and I say culturally significant, and that's something we really wanted to honor with that mural.
Great. Cindy is asking how large the photo murals are. There's a lot of interest in the photo murals. We'll have to see if we can get anything more on that.
Well, they were different sizes, like I said. So it's some that were 8 by 8, some were 8 by 12, some were 10 by 20, that we put up in different sections. So
I think the one at the plane is the largest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
well, maybe if you guys can share a couple pictures with me, I can send those out to.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I can
that'd be awesome. Okay.
So
Great.
Tara, I
Yeah,
just
go
want to
ahead.
also, I think this is a great opportunity just to remind folks to, if you have not, sharing your murals and these pictures and things would be wonderful, super duper to do on our Facebook group. Facebook, I don't know if it's a page or a group, honestly.
It's a group.
That we put that up, we put the Facebook group up there just so you would all would have an opportunity to share and communicate with each other, which I don't know if we've hit that point yet. I think we just end up sharing things, but if you at any point want to share photos of the progress of your murals or murals you've seen or the photo murals that you have, because I was just thinking Forsyth has some that are similar that we put up in some buildings to improve the facade, empty buildings that we improve to improve the facade. But just a shout out to Tara, I think, put the group up. So please feel free to share all your wonderful items and photos and comments and ideas and things in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
And everybody's always looking for artists too. So if you know an artist, sometimes they can be shy. So, okay, let's move on if that works for everybody. So our next speaker is Kari from Malta.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Thanks for having me, Tara. I really appreciate it. And if we actually could go ahead and start with the video.
Yep.
And I'll just kind of
There's no sound on this video, so I'm going to share the video. It's just a little grainy, but I think you get the idea. We'll share it on our Facebook page too, because it's just really pretty awesome. No sound, so don't be worried if you can't hear anything.
Yeah, so these letters are 9 feet by 9 feet. And my wall is about 100 feet in total. So we didn't want to use all of that space, and we wanted to make it ground level so people could take pictures with the mural. It's still in progress. Pictures were actually inspired by some of my own, just pictures of my sunset from my house and sharing those out. The concept, though, was actually before me. The Chamber of Commerce had been talking about a mural for a while, and this concept of having some lettering with them filled in with some landscape that was Phillips County related. So I'll hold off on some of this particulars because the artist who did this is actually on today. So I just want to keep to some of the basics and let her speak to the actual artwork process for her topic. Some of the funding sources were Phillips County Community Foundation. I believe that was some of the beautification funds that were the ones that I went through for the application process. Reimagining Rural was one of our grants, as well as the Art Council, Montana Art Council. So that one's still pending, but again, I'll let Kat speak to that a little bit more. She's had some great experience with the support of the Montana Art Council specifically. This has been a bit of a challenge. I think the biggest challenge was trying to get the artist, and also, of course, weather. Weather is going to be one of the biggest challenges. So trying to get everything kind of organized. We have a kind of a short window space. That wall is concrete, so it has to be the right temperature for it to stick and to stay, and long term, we want that quality to stay on there. So of course, we had kind of a rough winter this time around, so we really had to wait for that wall to warm up enough for us to really get into it. But it was great to be able to use technology. We had some, I just kind of did a call out on some of the great Facebook pages around, asking for submissions if anyone's interested in being the artist for a mural project, and it was just kind of word of mouth. So we even have a student who's involved in the project as well. She's from Saco, and she's come out I think at least 2 or 3 times, but she's been part of even the developing the concept and everything too. So I think it's great for our young people too to be really involved. And that is part of the Art Council mission as well, is to make sure the kids is like multi-generational, it's impacting everybody. And we've had a street cruise last Friday, and so Kat was there for that too, and did a great job of like engaging with some of the kids that were around town. It was just really happening and busy. So there's food trucks that were by the theater as well. Sorry, I don't think I said that. This is the Malta Theater, the Villa Theater building, and so my husband and I own that building. So that any opportunity to interface with the community, we will have some photo opportunities with the Phillips County Community Foundation. They're going to do some pictures with us as well, and we're going to write "Welcome to" on the front part of that. And then that Malta, we decided that font because that is pretty a famous M for Malta. So everywhere around town, you'll see these big M's. So that was the inspiration for that font to be used across the wall. All right, any questions?
Yeah, does anybody have any questions? It's beautiful. And I love that you have, like, it's a great place for photos. I used to live in Whitehall, and we had a big old ugly, I think there's somebody from Whitehall on. We had a big, broad, open, actually the theater there too, but same kind of idea as it said, "Welcome to Whitehall." And it was just a way to dress up this big, long wall. So I think it's beautiful with the white and the beautiful, vibrant colors. It's pretty great. Any other questions for Kari? And Kari Rae is you're the director. Are you the director of the chamber, or? No?
I was last year.
Okay.
Yeah, the chamber has been in, because of course a lot of these grants have to go through a nonprofit, and so they've been kind of our clearinghouse, if you will, for some of these grants too.
Yeah.
So it's been great to work with them.
Nice.
And lots of in-kind stuff as well. So in-kind for Kat's stayovers. So she's, been able to stay the weekends here. She does working multiple projects. So it's great to just kind of keep her and have her for a couple of days. And being able to have like the scaffolding has been also in-kind from just building Bishop's building supplies. They're willing to let us use it. It was just sitting there for a while until that snow melted finally, so we can move it around and utilize that too. So,
Great.
and then the local hardware store, we just put a credit on there, and they've been awesome to work with as well. So we're trying to keep our supplies as local as we can too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Excellent. Great. Okay. Thanks, Kari. Go ahead, and if you have any questions, ask Kari or just put it in the chat. Okay, our last speaker for today is actually, we have an artist, so Cathryn McIntyre, and she happens to live in Glasgow, but you can see she's working kind of all across the High Line. So Cathryn, are you ready to?
Yeah.
Ready to speak? Great, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been such an exciting conversation to listen to, especially from an artist perspective, and to hear people weighing in on the impact of the mural work on the, you know, the communities that the murals have been part of. I'm a professionally trained artist. So when it's winter, I'm, you know, at my easel, working on my easel and, you know, drawing and doing more studio based work. As Betty Stone, who spoke earlier, mentioned, I did the underpass mural in Glasgow, which that was in 2021. That was my first large scale mural project. I had an opportunity to start considering mural work in 2015, and I considered myself too much of a studio artist to shift. And by 2020, I was open to, you know, like so many of us, open to different ideas. And the watching the impact of the Glasgow mural and the underpass really opened my eyes to why mural work is so powerful in our small communities. And as Kari mentioned, with working on this project here in Malta, I'm seeing pretty much the exact same type of community response that I saw when I was working on the Glasgow project. And this past weekend, Kari was gracious enough to welcome my husband and my 3-year-old as well, since it was Mother's Day weekend. And my husband was born and raised in Glasgow. I'm not from this area originally. I've called northeastern Montana, Glasgow home since 2006. But like I said, I'm professionally trained. And not being from here, it's really interesting to me to see the rivalry between small towns. And small towns that are close to one another geographically, it's that much more noticeable. And I'm sure I'm not, you know, surprising anyone with speaking about this. And it was really beautiful for my husband to be able to experience the outpouring of excitement and enthusiasm and the welcoming feeling that he got as well in observing the town's reaction to the work that I'm doing here in Malta. And I'm also simultaneously working on a project in Wolf Point, a mural project there. So I feel like a little bit of a ping pong ball going back and forth down the highway. But again, the project in Wolf Point, it's not that mural is not in a very obvious, like not on a main street, it's off a ways. So it's not quite as present as this project in Malta and the project in Glasgow were. But nonetheless, I'm still I think that would be for me as an artist, my biggest takeaway. Artists thrive on having their work appreciated, and that feeling of appreciation from communities and seeing that you can actually be a catalyst for excitement and change and revitalization makes it so exciting to do work like this. You know, I'm looking at doing another project in Glasgow if we get the grants that we went after later this summer. And actually Riley Zumbrennan, who you mentioned earlier, she and I speak every once in a while on social media. We've never met in person, but so I have a teaching license as well, and I prefer to work as an artist exclusively. And so I've been nurturing Riley in that leap of faith, so to speak, as an artist, because so often we're told you can't do that, but actually you can if you're willing to think outside the box. And it's so exciting to have communities that are supporting that forward thinking mentality. So I don't know, do you want me to continue to talk about my work, or did you want me to answer some questions?
Well, you know what, Cathryn, we actually have a couple of questions. Well, I guess, okay, maybe you want to talk about that easement, that mural easement, that question that came up?
Yeah. So that's been one of the biggest concerns of any of the groups I've worked with in helping with the deterioration of the mural paint, and especially in stopping any kind of vandalism. That was a big concern for us in Glasgow with the underpass because the train is right over top of it. And so sometimes graffiti artists travel with trains. And we did actually have, I was maybe not even a month into being finished with the project in Glasgow, and I had someone do some spray paint tagging. And we had used this coat, and the tag came off immediately, like right away, did no damage to the mural whatsoever. So the name of that, if you were to search up world's best graffiti coating, and I had to, we ordered it out of, I believe they're based in California. We ordered a pretty large quantity of that. There's 2 different types of coatings that they sell. And so it really depends on your funding situation and whether, I mean, it is a little bit costly, but it a little bit does go a long way, as I'm finding out, because I'm still working with leftover product from previous work. They have a product that specializes in helping the paint withstand extreme temperature fluctuation, which is obviously a very relevant issue here. Supposedly the coating is supposed to last for 10 years and then you can recoat. It's clear and almost like the consistency, you know, is super fast to roll on. So there's the UV coat, and then there's one that is specifically for graffiti itself. And we used the anti-graffiti, and I ended up combining it with the UV coat. So that was for the underpass. The one in Wolf Point, that one's, whenever it's on ground level, you get a little bit more concerned, especially if it's off the beaten path. But one of the things that I've noticed is, especially as an artist, is that if you engage the community, especially the youth of the community, in the creative process, then the community and the kids themselves have ownership of that mural work. And so I think that's something to encourage as much as possible, because if they help to make it and they have that memory, and theoretically sorry, I'm in a coffee shop. Theoretically, you want that art to last, you know, for a couple decades. I mean, ideally, you know?
Yes.
So if you've got kids that are helping paint it when they're 5 years old, by the time they're 15, if the mural is like, you know, you're at a point where you want to add to it, they might be the ones who actually end up adding to it, you know?
Yeah. So we have just
Sorry about the background noise.
No, we can't hear it. Here's a question that came in from Amy. She's in Terry. She said she owns a 100-plus-year-old building in Terry. Some of her main concern is working to make sure the mural looks the way I would envision it, which I would guess is just clear communication with the artist ahead of time, as well as making sure the longevity of the artwork. Do you have any thoughts on that, Cathryn?
Yeah, I think that clear communication is imperative, especially with something like this. So when Kari first spoke with me about the vision, she was very clear about the vision that she had. And as an artist,
Kari in Malta.
Yeah, Kari in Malta, who's also part of this conversation as a panelist. So whether or not the person who wants the mural done if they have a clear vision, it's obviously helpful to the artist, because then you can, you know, take their ideas and for me as an artist, I take their ideas and then I start looking at photos, and I always generate a preparation, like usually a watercolor painting. I freehand everything from start to finish. I do not use projectors or anything on any of the work that I do. And so having a very clear idea in mind is really important. And it's also, I think, really important if you're freehanding to be comfortable with math, you know, especially with lettering. If you want things to look exact and you don't want to use a projector or anything like that, you really do need to do the measurements ahead of time on a scale. And then like I did a 1 inch to 1 foot ratio. So that's really helpful too. I can't imagine moving, honestly, from me as an artist, I cannot imagine the idea of moving forward on a project like this without a clear preparatory sketch. Like, I think that if you do not have that in place, you're really playing a risky game, because artists, being artists, tend to get inspired. And sometimes when you get inspired, things shift. And so it's really helpful to have that vision in mind, to hold to it, so that I can get inspired, but I know that this is my parameters and I know that this is what's expected, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Good deal. Anybody else have any other questions? Amy says, thank you for the helpful information.
You're welcome, Amy.
I just would like one comment to make
Yeah.
a comment on the project Kat did on the underpass. She incorporated even small kids because she would let them say paint flowers down here, you know, so they were able to do do their skill level and have it still contribute to it. And then she also had art students from the high school class and the middle school art class. So, you know, a variety of, and lots of local volunteers too.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I think we must have had at least 50 volunteers or more throughout the entire project, including I invited some of the elementary students. Like, I had a couple teachers who brought their classes down to the underpass during class time. And so they were, you know, and of course that involved a little bit of staging on my hand to make sure things went exactly as I wanted them to. But it really, I think that's the beauty of a large scale project like this, because you have such a large space to work within. Having multiple styles of hand is only something that adds to the beauty, as long as you're using other people's hands in a, you know, their hand work in a way that's intentional and not random. So that's, again, pre-planning, you know, like, okay,
Yeah.
so I did like multiple mommy and me paint sessions where I invited, or daddy and me, or where I'd posted on our Facebook community groups type thing. And I would invite, I'd say, hey, I'm going to be painting on the mural from 12 to 4 on Sunday afternoon. Bring your kid and come sit down with me and we're going to paint some alfalfa together, you know? And the thing about it being on a mural wall, so large scale, that it doesn't have to look exactly like alfalfa, as long as it's, you know, mimicking that quality, you know, it pretty much. And it really, really did. I had everything from 3-year-olds on all the way up. Betty helped participate too, and her granddaughters were a huge contributing force. It's really wonderful when you can work with high school kids in particular, because they have a lot of energy. The non-caffeinated kind. Boy, those were the days.
Cathryn, we have a question that came in from Angela. What paint do you use for the actual mural painting when you're looking at such a large number of colors?
I've honestly, I started with exterior latex, and that was for the Glasgow underpass. And we were that, like, the scale of that project was absolutely ginormous. And I really didn't anticipate how large it would be when I first took it on. But I'm so glad that I went with exterior latex because of the cost factor. I did a lot of research. I have multiple colleagues that do mural work in Las Vegas and some that do mural work up in Canada. And I spoke with both of them about like longevity and all of that. And it would have been nice to invest in, you know, Nova Paint or something like that. But sometimes the cost factor is an issue, especially if you're covering a large space. And so in that sense, I've been using the exterior latex. I just buy from local hardware stores. I'm traditionally an oil painter, and I found the blendability of the latex really surprising. I thought it would be like acrylic in terms of the quality and laying it on, but I just honestly, I have like 10 cans of paint that ride around in the back of my car, and just pour them out as I need them into little palette. You know, I just use little styrofoam palette trays or whatever and pour it off into that, and it works just fine.
Okay. Thank you, Cathryn. And I'm just looking at the time. We are at our time. So, Jennifer, do you have any thoughts to wrap us up, or nope?
I just was going to say, I mean, once again, it just amazes me when we get to the end of each one of these topics. It doesn't seem to matter what the topic is, that people are really engrossed and they want to learn more. And it just is, it's once again, it's just so wonderful to see towns across Montana that come together, have these conversations, and are working on improving their communities in one small way or another. But so with that, also, I know there was a few people that asked to join the Facebook group. So I just really want to strongly encourage everybody to get on the Facebook group and share there. Make that your platform for sharing information, asking questions, and having to keep these conversations going, because that's what I think we intended it for it to be. And we haven't reached that yet, but just once again, like, take pictures of the stuff that you're doing, ask questions there.
Yeah.
Love to see some robust conversations happening there.
Yeah. Yeah. I might have those pictures posted on the Facebook page from Cut Bank, because I can't send a lot of pictures out via email. So that's the best way to do it. And it is fun to see. And I share a lot of funding opportunities there, because word has gotten out that I work on rural issues. So people send me grant opportunities. So I post them there too. They're kind of soup to nuts. If I don't think they're going to apply, I won't post them there. But I think hopefully we'll do a little bit of research after this, hearing you all talk today, and see what we can find. Great. Well, thank you so much. So this is the last of our webinar series for the spring. We're having an in-person gathering June 13th in Townsend. And actually we have a couple of speakers. Lisa and Rob Cline are speaking, and Mikey Mollman is speaking, but she hopped off. So we're having, in the morning, we're having some speakers talk about some data and some research on what's happening in rural. And then in the afternoon, we're having 5 different reimagining rural communities talk about the experience that they had in their communities, kind of lighting a spark in their town to get things going. So that's happening. We're going to restart our webinar series in the fall, and we'll probably reconfigure our topics. So if anybody has any hot topics that they think would be great to hear in the fall, let us know, and we will line those up. We do have some topics set up. One will certainly, hopefully, be that tourism grant, because it's a really great grant program for projects like you all are working on, things that make your town better for the people living there, but also for visitors to your town. So with that, I'm gonna close us out. Thank you so much to our speakers for taking the time and all the anxiety that comes with speaking in front of a group. We appreciate it. And thanks to everybody that attended. I hope this was helpful. Please, I'll send out the recording to everybody that registered. It might be tomorrow. It probably will be on Friday. And we'll send the link along where you can find that too. So thank you. Thanks to Sharon for all the work on getting us prepped. Thanks to Jennifer for co-hosting. Thank you all. We'll be in touch.